we know with Minnesota and across the country, we've got ICE. There's like 22,000 employees that work there. Of course, Minnesota, they've done a specific surge in Minnesota because all the fraud and everything else that's going on there. It's a mess. But there's always been like the before administrations have always had like a long-standing rule that sensitive locations was a policy that they weren't going to enter. But Kristi Noem has kind of erased that policy and said, yeah, that's just a policy. It's not a law. We're gonna do it. So the policy is you can't enter into churches, schools, hospitals, like courthouses, to be able to detain illegal immigrants. What are your thoughts on that, April?
You can't enter.
That ICE,
So these are
ICE
kind
can't
of
show up at a school and say, hey, Jaime Diego, that's 17, he's part of this family that we're trying to get out of the country. Before there was a policy, not illegal, but a policy that said we don't go into sensitive areas. That's a sensitive area. But
so kind of like how they did like back in the medieval times, it was like sanctuary. So like if you go into a church, you can't arrest a criminal if the criminal's in the church.
Yeah,
sanctuary.
It's just they don't want kids to be scared to go into school and
I get
separated
that.
from their parents, or they don't want people to be afraid to go to the hospital and get arrested, because their dad's having a heart attack and they can't come see him, or so it's always been, there's a few, we'll say, sacred areas that it's like, hey, these are no-go zones, but that is not occurring. Currently,
is that happening right now? I haven't heard anything like that.
Currently, I don't know if it is since Tom Homan took over, but with Kristi Noem, yes, it was happening.
It was happening. No, so, I don't. I think I agree with that. I don't think you should be going into hospitals and schools unless it's like a hardened criminal that they're after, like a violent criminal that they're trying to get out of the public because he's a public safety risk, or they're a public safety risk. I guess it could be a female, but it's probably a dude. Yeah, that's my feelings on it. No, I don't think you should be going into schools and arresting people in front of a bunch of little kids. Like that's scary. Yeah. Hospitals are probably the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I think, and I'd like to see what the chat says. Chat, let's say press 1 if you think it's okay for them to go into schools, hospitals, and so forth. Press 2 if you think it's not okay. Be interested to see what you guys think. So press 1 if you think it's okay for them to go into schools or hospitals, sensitive areas. Press 2 if you think they should not be able to do that. So, here's what this says. I'll kind of read it to you guys as you guys are thinking about what you want to press. It says, since December 2025, Minnesota has been a primary target of Operation Metro Surge. This has seen thousands of federal agents deployed specifically to the Twin Cities, targeting sensitive areas. According to a lawsuit filed by the Minnesota Attorney General and the mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul in January 2026, ICE agents have specifically targeted individuals in formerly protected locations, including schools, churches, and medical facilities. Reported tactics: local reports and community observers have documented agents loitering near school bus stops and residential neighborhoods. There are also reports of ICE entering hospital areas, such as waiting rooms, which are technically public spaces. Legally, status of churches and schools, public versus private. Legally, ICE agents can enter public areas of these buildings, like church lobbies and school parking lots, without a warrant.